Organized 2 years ago. However, so it can't be really old, this door. Well, this door was built in 1996 to commemorate the first visit of John Paul II here in Slovenia. But if we begin here at the bottom, so we'll go through our history really fast, but okay. Here we have a bunch of archaeology that represents pre-Christian times, so those Roman and pagan times, and out of this archaeology, a linden tree is growing. This is the symbol of Slavs, the symbol of Slovenian nation. Remember, the Slavs tribes, they arrived here in 6th century and founded their first countries. This group of people coming from somewhere, this is the coming of Slavs. And as we mentioned, they were soon conquered by neighboring nations. They were, at that point, they were baptized by Irish priests. We adopted new religion, became Christian in 8th century. Then if we jump into medieval times, here we have a really interesting horseman. As you see, he holds a flag with a Crusaders cross on it. Yeah? Crusaders, you know, it's a generic name for different orders of warrior monks, where their life mission was to go down, to travel down to the Holy Land and to conquer Jerusalem, if not possible, at least burn it down. Well, as we know, they were riding on horses. They didn't have planes or anything like that, so they were forced riding on horses, and they were the best path leading down to the medieval, to the Middle East. To the holy country was through Slovenia, to the great crossroad country where you can, it's squeezed between the Alps and the Mediterranean Sea, so here you can go through without climbing over the Alps. And they brought a lot of knowledge. Their role was really, so how you say, in one hand, they brought a lot of knowledge from more advanced Arab world, but on the other hand, they were also mixing war and religion. So, okay, we'll finish our tour in their monastery. So we'll talk a bit more about Crusaders later on our tour. Well, on the other side, here we have some other horsemen. It's a completely different horseman. You see, he's wearing a turban. So this is a symbol of Turkish invasions in our country in 15th and 16th century. Turks were invading here, but they never conquered us. We were all the time living under Austro-Hungarian Empire. We were never in Ottoman Empire. And this is already an important thing to remember or to understand our history. That what makes us so different from our brothers on the south, Slavic brothers on the south. They were living in Ottoman Empire, under Turkish Empire, and we were living under German Empire, Habsburg Empire. That's why we have so many differences. And you see, he's holding a small boy in his lap. This is a symbol of well-known Turkish war tactics. When they were invading our areas, they were burning down villages, kidnapping small boys, then they brought them back to Turkey, where they raised them up as vicious warriors, and then brought them back in Slovenia to fight their own people. It's many sad stories about them, and many they didn't know. Of course, they were fighting against their own. And then if we go on, there you see there are 3 books. This is probably the most important relief here on this door. It is the central relief in this door. It represents the first book written in Slovenian language. And now, why is this so important, you might ask? Well, if you remember that Slovenian people, they were living under different foreign empires, divided into different countries. They didn't have any common symbols that would uniting them. And then language was the only thing that was connecting them. And when the first book in Slovene was written, this was really a milestone of this national awakening. It was after that the idea of national country was born, and this is why we have a national poet in the main square, not some kind of general, because we don't have any generals. We had only languages, poets, and those kind of things. Not so many politicians were important in our history, more poets and writers. And then we move on. There we have in the upper part of the door. It represents really the 20th century, and it's really divided into two halves. This is the two sides. This is the side of shame, the side of hope. We call it like that. In fact, those two sides are represented by two different groups of people. You see, there's a group of people that are turned around from us, and they represent the turbulent century, the bad deeds of the 20th century, 2 world wars, but also the communist regime wasn't really nice, especially in the early years. Many people died. So this is the shame, the dark chapter of our history. But here, on the other side, we have a group of people completely different. They are standing somewhere, and this is the hope. It represents the hope that came with our new country. We gained our independence in 1991, and this is also the corner where the sun is shining from. So very symbolically, the hope that came with our new country. Now, and of course the Pope looking at us down from the window. In fact, do you remember any other figure we've seen today on our tour at the beginning? Standing by the window? Julia, yeah. In fact, it's the same author. And Tone Demšar, he likes to put people in frames, I guess. In fact, and Mr. Demšar, he, of course, as every artist, he wanted to sign his art, but he couldn't put it in written, so he put his signature. Maybe you can recognize the signature. He put it in this corner over here. Anybody can see it? Yeah, he put his face inside, you see? A shining nose, mustaches. And urban legend says that it's a lucky charm to touch it, in fact. So if you want a long-lasting marriage, it's a must, I guess. I touch it.